Hey, hey, hey. Awesome. So I want to talk about today. Um, what happens? What are the mistakes that almost freaking every single land investor goes through and makes that mistake? It's clearly there's a lot of mistakes that everybody makes, right? So it's not just one, not two, not three, not four, whatever. There's a lot of mistakes everybody makes, but there's a few primary ones that I see all the time. And that's something I want to touch on today because these are mistakes I make all the time, right? And I'm going to pull up two deals that are we currently have right now. And I'll show you kind of like some mistakes we did when buying them because they're deals that have been sitting on the market for a long time and they've really been kicking our ass. So I'm going to pull them up. I want to show everybody kind of what I'm talking about. Little things that we should be looking out for, and little things that everybody should be kind of doing just to try to avoid and mitigate these steps. So I'm going to start with this. Let me share my screen. And I'm going to kind of just go over the 5 mistakes. And then I'm going to go into and share the mistakes that I've made and mistakes that I probably will continue to make. And hopefully one day I'll stop. Or one day we'll just get better and better. So here we go. Let me see. Let me share my screen. All right. So the number one mistake we see all the time is you're buying without a solid exit strategy, right? What does it mean? So, what are you going to do with this parcel? Is it going to be a subdivide? Is it you're going to do, you're going to sell it as is? You're going to, um, let's say you're buying a wetlands property. What's your goal? Like, what's the end goal with that? Yeah, somebody's going to sell it to you really cheap, but is there a buyer for that? Is there somebody who actually is going to come in and buy a wetlands property? Depending on your area, yeah, maybe, but also probably not, right? So one thing I would do is, what is your exit strategy? When this lead comes in, you got to start figuring out what your exit strategy is, number one. So let's say you get a 30-acre parcel that comes in. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to subdivide it? Are you going to sell it as is? Are you going to cut it into 2 lots? Are you going to cut it into 10 lots? Do you want to go through entitlements? Are you looking to maybe just, are you going to double close it? Are you going to buy cash? What are you going to do? What's your exit? How do you plan to sell this thing in 30 days, 90 days, whatever the case may be, right? So the number one mistake I see all the time is people are just like, hey, this looks like a great deal. Okay, what are you going to do with it? Right? Is this a great deal? I don't know. Well, what makes it a good deal? Because I'll tell you what, you could come into a deal, buy for, there's deals I've actually seen people do where they buy it, they think it's worth, they buy it for 100, they sell it for 200. They're like, I made 100 grand. Great. Well, did you do everything? Did you look at all exit strategies for that specific deal? There's deals that I've seen people do here. They actually could have made like multiple like millions on a deal just by going through an entitlement process and selling it to the right person, or maybe working with the right developer, builder, whatever the case may be. So like looking at all exit strategies, figuring out each deal, what the hell you're going to do with it, super, super important. So that's like my number one mistake, what I see all the time. The number two mistake is underestimating your due diligence. This happens all the time. I've done this. Everybody's done this. You go in, you look at a parcel. Hey, it looks like it's on the road. Perfect. Great. Let's buy this thing. Well, what happens next? You go ahead, go through title, boom, get everything. You close on the property. Guess what? They didn't read the title report right. There's no access. There's no legal deeded access. Let's say there was just a little smidge of the road or whatever the case would be, or you saw like this little triangle property that kind of like just cut off your access, right? And you're like, just drive over it. Well, now you don't have legal deeded access, right? Well, now you're screwed, right? Another thing is looking at the zoning. You could think you're buying a wreck property. It's a perfect little property, everything like that. It's going to be the perfect ideal candidate for a double close, or perfect ideal candidate to just sell as is. Like somebody could go in there and put a little RV there, whatever. You don't look at your zoning restrictions. You don't look at that. You can't put any mobile homes in that area, or you can't build there or anything like that, because of some kind of deed restriction or whatever the case may be. Or maybe there's no utilities and you'll never be able to build anything there, right? So it has to be like an off-grid property. So really what you have to do is like go through your full due diligence. You have to sit there and look at every single lead and every little avenue and weigh what could go wrong with it, right? Or what could go right with it. Sometimes we've looked at properties where they come in and we're like, yeah, this is like they can't do anything with this. Whatever. It's a crap property. There's no access and all that stuff. Then when you dig in a little further, or we just write it off real quick and we never look at it. A couple months go by, we go back and we look at a lead and we're like, why did we throw this property away? This is great. All we need to do is just sue for access from the neighbors. And then boom, we have an 80-acre parcel in a prime market. But we didn't know back then to do that. But now we look at it and we say, this is easy to get. There's guys in this community, in the Leah community, that'll help you. That's the best part. You don't even have to worry about like, I don't know everything. Well, if you look at something and you're like, this doesn't have legal deeded access, hey, I wonder if anybody else knows about this stuff. Let me message some people about that. Boom, drop it into Leah. Guaranteed. There's like 3, 4, 5 people that'll guarantee we hit you up. They'll say, yeah, I've done that before. I've sued for access. No problem. Here's what you do. They'll help you out. JV with you, whatever you want to do. I know for a fact, off the top of my head, there's at least 5. So underestimating your due diligence is huge. Do your due diligence. Take time. Don't rush through the properties just to get it on the thing and get it closed really quick. Get it under contract. Put your EMD down. Go through the process. Do your due diligence. If the soil looks questionable, pay for the perk test. You don't want to buy a property and then guess what? The perk test is bad or whatever the case may be. You can't put a septic on there. Well, now you're screwed, right? You might have to put an engineered system, whatever the case would be. Wouldn't it just be easier to spend the $500,000, get a perk test done, and then know when you buy the property you're good, right? I get a lot of people are like, no, I want the buyer to pay for that, whatever the case would be. Sure, you could totally have the buyer pay for that, but isn't it better to know from the beginning before you buy the parcel that it indeed will perk, right? Because then when the buyer's like, I want to get a perk test, you could say, hey, I have one. I'm like, no, I want to get my own. Okay, go ahead. We already know it's going to perk. Here's the test. Give this to your guys if you want. We've already paid the money. But by all means, you want to do your own perk test, go ahead. I personally have not done perk tests on a couple properties, and I regret it now because one property I had still sitting, I should have perk tested it. I should have went through, did the perk test. Now, a buyer ended up coming in, perk testing it, came out fine. It perked for a 4-bedroom, whatever, which is great. But that little thing, if I would have gotten the perk test done, I could have said, yeah, here you go. Here's the perk test right where it is. This is the spot where you could put a house. Then that would have saved me 2.5 months of waiting for this buyer to get his perk test on and then them backing out of the property. I could have sent it to them 2.5 months prior. Just be like, yep, here it is. Here's the perk test. This is exactly where he could go. This is what you could build there. Great. And then if they want to back out, because they're like, yeah, I don't want to build a house there. I want to be back further. Okay, great. No problem. I didn't waste all that time. Perfect. So that's number 2. Do your due diligence. Really sit there, really look at access. Read the title. Read it. Read the whole deed. Okay. Sometimes what I'll do too is I'll take the deed, throw it in ChatGPT. Hey, let me know if there's legal deeded access. Let me know if there's any highlights, lowlights, anything like that. Anything you see, right? We get a preliminary title report done with the guy that we found on Fiverr, right? He comes in, he does a prelim title for us. Costs us like $25-$50, right? Boom, done. Is it perfect title? No. But does it give us really good clues? Yeah. We'll know if we have an issue right off the bat. Spend the $50, save us thousands. Because there's deals we've sent to title companies that they're like, yeah, you got a big issue. Okay, well, what do we have to do now? Well, there's nothing really we could do. So cancel the contract. And then title company was like, well, you got to pay us because we spent all this money on due diligence. Shit. Well, now I'm out $500-$600. Had I just spent the $50 prior, I would have been it. I would have canceled the contract and moved on. Take your time, do your due diligence. Please just avoid them at all costs. Overpaying for a deal. God, I see this one all the time. And the reason why this happens all the time is everybody tries to make every lead a deal. Not every lead's a deal. Flat out. Hate to tell you that. Not every single person that raises their hand to sell is not a deal. Stop overpaying for leads, deals, whatever, just because the property looks pretty or I think I could sell it for this or whatever. If you don't have a clear comp local to that property, it's going to be really tough to go ahead and buy that deal, right? That's when something like this is a good time to do a double close. Um, I'm not a big fan of double closes. I think there there's a time and a place, but sometimes people lately have been getting really scummy with them, where basically they just force the seller to sign a contract for a high value, 70% of market, 80% of market, whatever the case may be, then go and list it as a double close and whatever, but never tell the seller that they're doing that. And what does that do? It sets a precedence for the market. Now, it's really bad because if people are doing that, if stuff comes up, there's issues or whatever the case may be, or you have to cancel with the seller, guess what? That seller's going to be pissed. And guess what? The next person that actually is a legitimate land investor that's actually going to buy the property now has to jump over all these hurdles that you just created. Don't be a dick to everybody else. If you're going to double close, be sure you talk to the client, let them know, hey, look, I can't pay X, Y, and Z for your property, but here's what I could do. I could market with a network of my buyers and I list it and I could try to facilitate a faster sale, but just know that I'm going to be marketing the property, blah, blah, blah. Make sure the language is in the contract. Make sure you put down an EMD. Then you have clear roles. You guys said, hey, I'm going to market the property. No problem. Whatever. You're good. I don't care. As long as I get my 5K an acre, I don't care what you do with it. Okay, great. It's just going to take 90 days. Okay, great. Just so you know, if it doesn't go through, we're not going to be able, you get to keep the EMD. Okay, great. They're fine. If you do that, that's fine. That's like legitimate, like going through the process of a double close. Now, if you're just going out there, getting them to sign, listing, and not telling them, it's kind of fucked up. Don't do that. So please articulate that. But anyways, overpaying for a deal. Also over offering for a deal. That's kind of where the double close comes in. Overpaying for a deal. So many times does this come up where you look at a property, you get tied in with the seller, and you're like, man, I just really want to help the seller out. I really want to do this, blah, blah, blah. So then you start looking at this and like, I'm just going to help them out. I'm going to buy this for this much. Then you realize you overpaid for it and you've already bought it. Now you go and list it on the market. You didn't have enough comps to begin with. Or the worst part is a realtor told you it's worth 15K an acre. You go and buy the property without doing all your due diligence or getting multiple opinions or anything like that. Let's say you just started working a market. Go buy the property, boom, close on it, go list it. You get all these hits, but then everybody's walking away from the property. You're like, what's going on with this thing? Come to find out, it's a swamp or whatever the case may be. We had a property, actually, it was a double close. Told the lady she wanted $85,000 for the property. We said we can't do that. Cash offers $50K. Okay, she wants 85. We thought we could probably sell for like 120, something like that. Came in, she's like, well, that's the number I want. So we said, okay, look, we could work with you, but here's how it's going to work. We told her about the whole double close. We told her about everything. We listed the property, got it up there. She's like, fine, no problem. We gave her an EMD, listed the property, got it up there. And she said it was a beautiful parcel. Everything's great, perfect, right by the water, blah, 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 all this stuff. It was in Washington. We go ahead and we list the property, get it up there. Our realtor never walked it. So finally we get somebody, a buyer comes in, like probably 4 or 5 weeks after we listed it. Buyer comes in, walks the property with our agent who never walked it, and they walk it, they get on it. They said it's literally just a swamp. That everything, everywhere you walk is like an inch of standing water off over the whole entire property. Well, obviously that's not a viable property for us or for them, right? Instantly, you're not going to build on it. And it's not like the water was just like there. It hadn't rained in weeks. So it wasn't like it was just happening, right? So what we have to do, we have to go and cancel. talk to the seller, say, hey, look, unfortunately, we can't go through with this. We had thought the property was good and clean, but come to find out there's standing water on the property, so we can't buy it. She's like, okay, no problem. Cancel the contract, move on. Had we bought that deal, we would have totally screwed ourselves. Probably would have lost 30 grand easily, very easily, because it wasn't a good property. So you really got to stop getting emotional with the deal. Stop getting too in tight with the sellers and their needs and all that stuff. Stop trying to make everything a deal. It's not all a deal. Okay. Make sure your agents are walking properties, or whoever your ground people are. They're walking the property. They're looking at it. They're actually stepping foot on it. Because if they're not, you got to get a new agent. Okay. You got to make sure you're working with people that are legitimately walking the property, because pictures, drone shots, all that stuff look great. Physically walking on a property gives you a whole new outlook. Just got to make sure you're doing that. So before you buy a deal, make offers, do all that stuff, get out there, walk it, have somebody walk it, do whatever you can to get somebody out there. Very simple, right? Ignoring the market demand. Okay, so this is one, there is no excuse these days for ignoring market demand. Why? Land Insights literally fixes that. Now, you're going to sit there, you're going to look at this property and be like, it's a beautiful 38-acre parcel in XYZ County, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? And you're like, this is going to be great. Cool. Well, go ahead and you get it under contract, you do all this stuff. You go to buy, you list it, sits there for 9 months. And you're like, this is beautiful. Why is this happening? I don't understand. Oh, no. Well, now you go back and you look at the market, you look at the demand, and you're like, the demand is shit. There's no demand here at all. And you're overpriced because now the demand is lower. So obviously you're going to price it lower. You kind of just screwed yourself. That's really what you just did. You got to look at the demand, right? Even if you're working a new market, even if you found the perfect market on Land Insights, the problem is that counties are big. There might be demand in this little section up here, but the rest of the county might not be any demand. So you got to look at past sales, right? Not just 1 year, look back 2, 3, 4 years. Was there demand everywhere in the county, or was it just centralized to this one little pocket, one little subdivision, whatever the case may be? If it's centralized and there hasn't been sales anywhere else, well, you don't want to really buy a property over here if all the sales are up here, right? Because there's nothing here. Now, if you do see one comp down here that sold in like 3 days, and then there hasn't been any more supply coming in, well, what does that indicate? There's demand, there's zero supply, okay? So you're okay. But if there's literally nothing that's sold, you see this all the time in like Tennessee, I see it a lot in like mountainous areas. West Virginia, I see it a lot in like mountainous areas where you'll see a ton of activity, but it's like along a road. And then there's nothing on the outskirts at all. Like if you look at Belknap, what's that, Belknap, Vermont, I think, or New Hampshire. Yeah, New Hampshire. You look at that. There's like a clear line that there is nothing. Nobody's buying anything north of that. There hasn't been sales there in years. Don't even bother market to that area because the demand is low. Look, you got to look at your market demand and you got to see like, okay, is there actually demand in this market for this type of property? And what's your buyer's avatar? What kind of buyer is going to come in here and build that? Like buy something for that? Are they rec people? Are they this? Are they going to build a house or whatever the case may be? If you're buying in an area that all the demand was demand for people going out and building houses, right? And now you're buying a rec property, not a great, that's probably a great hunting property, but it's not an area where people are hunting. You're probably going to sit on the market forever, right? So that's not a good indicator. That's not a good thing either. You really got to sit there and look at this and say, okay, how can I best serve this market? I got to look at this area and say, okay, this area, everybody's building 3,500 square foot homes on 10 acres, 4-bed, 2 baths, or 4-bed, 3 baths, whatever the case may be. That's what they're building. Well, you go out there and you're like, I'm not going to perk test. But if everybody's building houses out there, shouldn't you perk test it? It's almost like an infill lot. I would totally perk test that. But let's say you you did actually do a perk test. You actually went the mile. You did the perk test. Well, there are only perks for a 2-bed, 1-bath, right? Is that fitting the market? No, it's not fitting the market at all, right? So I would not buy that deal, or I'd buy it significantly less, because guess what? If everybody's building 4-bed, 3-baths in that area, 3,500 square feet or more, and you're only perked for a 2-bed, 1-bath, what do you think the likelihood somebody's going to come in there and buy that? Probably super low, right? Because you can't put the right property on there. So that's another one. I got to grab a drink. Having on 1 second. I've had a Modelo kind of day. All right, so we're going to see. Delicious. Okay, mistake number 5. Okay, so here's what happens a lot of times. People are really, really terrible with their lead follow-up. Okay? If you gotta love a good Modelo, right? If you get a good lead in, okay? Huge mistake everybody makes. You get a good lead in, and what do? You ghost them. You don't call them back. Well, guess what happens? They get pissed off. They called you, right? And they wanted to sell. You ignored them. And now guess what? They're pissed off. Guess what happens next? The next person who sends them a letter, they call them. Guess what happens next? That person ignores them too. Third person comes in. They call them. Finally, somebody gets them on the phone. They start talking to them. And they're like, "Oh, you guys, you're sending these letters. You're not doing a follow up. Nobody's calling me. Blah, 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 blah." It's all like a bunch of people are doing this. I hear this all the time. They say, "I talked to somebody. I never hear from them again." Why? Why is this happening, guys? Why are you wasting your money? Get out there, talk to these people, have conversations, follow up. If a seller calls you, you shouldn't be waiting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days to call them. No. Seller calls, do your quick due diligence, get on the phone within 24 hours, hopefully sooner, hopefully within 30 minutes, speed to lead. Get in there, talk to them. As soon as you talk to them, start your due diligence. If you have a good agent in the area, work with that agent. Talk to the agent. Say, "Hey, this is the property just came up. Boom. I want to get this guy a price. Can you get me a price?" Okay, cool. They hop in there. They look at it and they're like, "Yeah, okay. Look, you're good at 5K an acre here. Cool." Get the seller back on the phone. "Hey, we're good to go. We sent you an offer for 55,000. I think we could do that. We might just have to come down to 50,000. Okay, great. Go. Sign the contract. Boom, done." Don't delay the process. Don't make this whole long drawn out thing. And don't ignore them. Don't not call them back, right? That's huge. You got to call them back. You got to have really good follow up. If you don't have good follow up, there's no reason to send mail. Like literally no reason. No reason to contact leads, none of that stuff. Don't even do the business. Like don't even bother. If you can't follow up people, just do something else. Do a different business that does not correlate to this. You got to have good follow up. You got to have good systems. You got to be able to do this stuff. You got to be able to comp deals quickly. Don't make a person wait weeks. It's just stupid. Just stupid. Just sit there, do your thing. I'm gonna pull up my stuff. Let me see. I have a deal. Hang on 1 second. So we have a deal that we listed in North Carolina. We bought this parcel. Let's see. Let me find it. Okay. Here we go. So this is the little problem child we've been having. So we bought this parcel. It's got really good view to save ratio, everything like that. 28 acres, two parcels, one with the road frontage, one without. Now we bought this thing back quite a while ago. I'm trying to find it. We bought it for we bought this, I think we're all in for 150, I think is the note, right? 150 with our note, something like that. Now looking at this thing, it's a nice parcel, right? We got this good road frontage, all this stuff. This big chunk of land back here, 24 acres, and then this one makes it 28 acres total. Okay. Nice. It's got pretty good, some clearing spots, some good trees, all that stuff. Now, couple lowlights of this property, which I will say is that this is a dirt road coming in here. Farley Road is a dirt road. All around me is mobile homes. I took this property and I looked at it and I said, oh, we could build like a beautiful stick-built 3,000 square foot, whatever house here. It'll be great. Well, I didn't take into account the market, the area immediately surrounding this property. Okay. Everything's mobile homes. What is somebody going to pay $230K to put a mobile home on? Somebody who's buying a $230,000 property, more than likely, they're going to probably want to put a nicer home on it, right? Well, I should have looked at that. I screwed up with that. You can see here, mobile home, mobile home, mobile home, mobile home, all of them mobile homes. So when we come right into a property, it's all mobile homes. Now, the good thing is this thing did perked pretty damn well for a 4-bed, 3-bath house. Okay. Another thing we noticed, this property has wetlands. No problem, just this tiny little strip. What I would have done differently had I not bought this property 9 months ago. I bought this 9 months ago, by the way. This is the second time we're listing it with a new agent. Bought this 9 months ago. My agent originally told me this property is worth $240,000. Okay, we bought it. We said we're going to list this at $199. Go below the market. This thing will sell like hotcakes. We should sell this thing probably for $220,000. We'll get over ask, all this stuff. Guess what happened? Went on the market, sat, and guess what? It sat there. We finally got somebody to come in, walk the property, make an offer. Made an offer. They didn't get qualified for a loan. Went back on the market. Okay, no big deal. Whatever. So that's sits there for about another 3 months, something like that. Finally, at month 4 on the market, we get another buyer coming in. Great, cool. They offered low, 185,000. Now we did price drops along the way. They offered 185,000, which is pretty much what we were on market for. 185K. Great. We accepted the offer. We looked at it. We're like, at the end of the day, once we pay our lender back, pay our realtor, all that stuff, we'll probably walk away with like $5,000 in our pocket. Okay, it sucks, but we'll take it. This guy comes in, he does his perk test. We get the copy of it. After doing everything, getting the perk test back, he decides he likes a different property. He spent the money, but he decides he likes a different property. He walks away. He said, I'll still buy the property, but it's got to be for $160,000. And we say no. Okay. So he walks. That was in January. He tied the property up for 2.5 months, which really sucked. We got $500 EMD out of it. Totally sucked. So what does this tell me? I bought this property wrong. I should have bought this for probably $115,000. But here's what happened. I got in touch with the seller. I really liked the seller. I really wanted to help them out. They wanted $140,000, weren't budging off that price. I should have said, nah, not going to do it. But instead, I forced this to be a deal. Okay. But my other thing is I had my agent, which is a trusted agent, great guy. Absolutely love the guy. He told me the property was worth $240,000. Now, here's the thing. This market does support $240,000 for this property, but not in this specific area. Okay. So what happened is this area, while around the area there are properties for $240K, they're in better areas with stick-built homes and all that stuff. Okay. I did not take into account that. I thought it was going to be fine. He said the same thing. It's going to be great. Whatever. Well, we totally screwed the pooch here. So now we're like, okay, what do we do now? A couple things I'm thinking. Now, once I relisted this, I did relist it again, 240. I listed it high because I wanted to see what was happening. I wanted to see, after the election, market changed a little bit. Maybe we could see we could do better. So I went and listed it high. I listed at 240 again. We ended up doing a price reduction. We're actually going to do another price reduction now. But what I should have realized is that this property, I should have bought lower, but I also should have thought about my buyer avatar. What's my buyer's avatar for this? I thought it was going to be a stick built, white collar person that's going to be coming here, building this beautiful dream home, living on the property, having some hunting land behind them, whatever the case may be. What up, Bodie? I was totally wrong, because I didn't look at the market. I didn't take that into account. So what am I going to do now? Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look into this property and see is there a way I could subdivide this? So what I'm kind of considering, splitting this off, coming down here, something like this, and coming down, splitting off a chunk and cutting this in half. Okay. So what that's going to do is cut me into two 14-acre parcels. Now it's the same acreage, same all that stuff. The benefit of this is now instead of trying to sell one $240,000 property, I could probably sell two $120,000 properties. Each property will sell because there's a lot more people under $150,000 looking to buy land than there are people at $240,000 looking to buy land. So if I cut this in half, I should be able to sell this for about $120,000 a property. It's going to cost me a couple grand in surveying, all that stuff, but I should yield good results. Now, the one negative, the one caveat to this, and why I haven't just taken the jump yet, is when I subdivide this right here, this little portion is where the wetlands are, which just so happens is also where the ideal building site is. So guess what? Well, we have a perk on this side already. There's already a perk right here. This is already perked. So I just have to perk this one. Now, here's the problem. Perk this, all that stuff. Ideal building sites right here, which just so happens is where the wetlands are. What do I do now? Well, I'm going to have to perk way back here, which means a long driveway going into your thing. Is it the worst thing? No. But right here, I mean, you'd still have a good chunk of property. You'd have like this long kind of flagpole lot coming back here. I guess I could kind of cut this in half, come up like this, and put this kind of flagpole-ish lot back here, and then have this lot right here, and then two 14-acre parcels. Great. So that's what we're going to try to do now to try to mitigate this one. I screwed up, totally screwed up. I actually wouldn't mind if somebody came in here and offered me 175 and I ended up taking a bath and losing $5,000. I would totally do it just because I want to pay my lender back. I would do it. But I'm also trying to see if I can make anything, salvages in any way freaking possible. So that's one of my properties that we screwed up on. Now, I'll show you another one because I have a few. Not just one. I have a few we screwed up on. And these are all lessons that everybody needs to learn. And honestly, you're probably going to say it's never going to happen to me until it happens to you a couple times. So this next one, this is... hold on. Let me see. Arn. Okay, here is another one of my problem childs. This one was a good, fun property. Still working on it. So here we are, 1 Arnco Street. This is in Noonan, Georgia. This is our first deal we ever did in Georgia. Looking at this property, I loved it. 2 entrances. You got an entrance right here. So we had 1 Arnco Street right here, Arnco Street, and the other street right here. I forget what the two streets are, but I think it's 1 and 3 Arnco Street, whatever the case may be. Now, right here, there's a road entrance here, road entrance here. What I thought we were able to do was, oh, this would be a great if somebody wanted to develop this area, they could do a little subdivide. Beautiful, right? Train tracks right here. Right here, these are all like lower entry housing, like houses sell for 100 to 150K. I'm thinking somebody could come in here, chop up this lot, 6.9 acres, not terribly huge, but a decent size. These are like, quarter acre lots, not even. I thought it'd be great. Now, when I looked at the market over in this area over here, this whole area had tons of development going on, right? And I'm like, amazing. There's development. There's people wanting to build here. But what did I do? The idiot I am. I didn't look at the total thing and say, okay, great. This developer is building $500,000 houses here. He's going to want to buy my property, right? I called him. He was like, dude, I'm not building $100,000 homes, $150,000 homes. Get out of here. He's like, if they don't sell for $500,000 plus, I don't want it. Okay, cool. That's okay. There's a market for everybody. So I said, that guy's not the right builder. Somebody's going to be. Okay, cool. While I was under contract to buy this property, this guy right here, the same, like literally shared like on the other side of the train tracks, sold for $327,000. I was like, I just hit the lotto. I bought this property for 60 grand. And I'm like, this one just sold for $327,000. I'm like, I'm going to sell mine. Probably pretty damn close to the same. Okay. I was wrong. We didn't list it that high. We kind of knew. But what we did, we assumed that somebody's going to come in and buy this thing and it was going to be, next best thing, right? They're going to buy this property. Same person that bought this one will probably want this one. Well, there are train tracks right here. Okay. That divides it. Had this property actually shared a border, this guy probably would have bought it. He would have been into it. But he's like, nah, it's divided by the train tracks. Can't really do anything with it. Okay. We do have power lines running through here, but not like crazy, like high voltage transition lines, just regular, like 5,000 volt lines, which you would just tap off a transformer and then you run the power for your grid, whatever. So, anywho, bought this property for 60. Thought, it's a great property, probably subdivide. This guy back here owns a ton of wood, a ton of land for like timberland, stuff like that. Boom. We thought maybe he would be interested in adding 6.9 acres. He looked at us and laughed. He's like, it's small. This is too small for me, dude. I don't want anything to deal with that. I was like, well, look, at the end of the day, like these are great roads for you to come in with your log gears and stuff like that. He's like, no, can't. These power lines mitigate me. I can't drive under them. So I'm out. Damn it. This is a church. Thought maybe the church would want to buy it. They're like, nah, we're good. We don't need any more land. They own this chunk right here. Okay, screwed. So after all that, we just sat in the market. We've been sitting here waiting and waiting. See, look right here. See right here? See this subdivision? I thought I was the next one in line. I thought this guy would totally want to build right next to me. Guess what? He doesn't want to do it. So I screwed myself right here by buying this one. Now, we are getting an offer today, 85K cash. We'll see if it actually goes through. 85K cash. This has been on the market for about 9 months. Right now, my lender is going to cost me 14 points on the money lend, so $60,000. So 60K right here times 1.14. So my total note payoff would be 68,400. And then I got my realtor fees. So if it's 85,000 times 0.92, that's 78,200. So I think I said 68,400. Okay, so it's showing about 9,800. That's probably where we're going to end up being at, somewhere around that. I don't think we're going to be at that high. I think we'll be closer to like the 3K mark. But we'll see. But another reason why I ended up buying this deal, I wanted to buy this thing for 40K. And I ended up coming up to 60 because of this lot right here. I thought we could make it happen. And because of this development right here. I thought between those two things, this thing is definitely going to sell. I didn't take into account everything else. Now, the other reason why I bought this deal is because the seller, this is when I was still doing my acquisition calls, the seller literally called me once or twice a day, every single day, once or twice a day, if not more, asking them when we're closing. Hey, when are we closing? Hey, when are we closing? Hey, when are we closing? Hey, when are we? And I just got fed up and I said, you know what? Screw the due diligence. Just buy the property, move on, whatever. It's going to be fine. It's going to be a good deal. Well, I should have realized that the seller was hounding me because he knew he was getting a deal. He knew he was going to like getting more than it was really worth. I should have bought this thing for 40 all day long. I should have really stuck with that number, but I did not. I didn't. I just didn't do it. I don't know why. I got annoyed and I should not have done that. Okay. I should have waited. I should have really stuck to my number and stayed with it. Okay. So that was another thing. Now, another mistake I made on this property, because I made a few, this right here. Okay. See this right here? I should have paid somebody to clear this. I probably would have sold this freaking property in like 2 weeks for $100K if I just paid the $3,000, not even, to clear out this stuff. But I said, I'm buying it at such a great price and everything is selling in this area like hotcakes. I'll be fine. Go ahead, just buy it. Don't even worry about it. It's going to sell fast. And then what happened? Here we are. This is overgrown. You can't get through it, can't walk through it, all that stuff. Okay. My realtor, Josh, awesome dude. He's like, dude, I will go down there with the chainsaw myself and cut it down for you. And I was like, no, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's going to be fine. He's like, trust me, dude, you need to do it. You got to get a brush hog in there. You got to clear it out. Nah, I'm good. I'm an idiot. I should have listened to them, listened to my market expert. But no, I thought I was the smartest person in the world. So guess what happens? This thing continues to sit. They can't get into the property from the one entrance. They have to go to the other entrance, right? I should have cleared this stupid thing, spent a couple bucks, whatever. Now I'm so far into this deal that I'm like, well, I don't want to do it now. Okay. Well, I should have just freaking did it way back when. So that's that. It kind of sucks. So you can see right here, look at all this thatch right here. This is all thorn bushes and everything like that. Not ideal. Okay. Right here, that's the one you couldn't get into. This side you could get into. So my agent that was working with us actually ended up changing brokerages. Amazing dude. This guy crushes. He actually got into more development stuff. He was from Osceola and he switched to a different agency. Great guy. And I have this awesome, amazing guy, Alec, right now, who's absolutely one of the best agents I think I've ever worked with. He's a really great dude. He's crushing it. He's actually showing the property, getting the contract written up today, sending it out to me. So very stoked to see that. But we'll see. I'm hoping this one sells. If not, I'm gonna have to talk to my lender and figure out what they want to do next. I mean, we have a clause in there. Basically, what happens if after a year, what happens is we basically go into this 50-50 split. So anything we make on the property, he gets 50% of it. So he gets his full principal and 50% of whatever we end up selling it for. So we do have a clause in there. I just don't want to deal with it. But yeah, Alex, awesome dude. This guy, if anybody has work in Georgia, this guy's crushes. Really great guy. You're gonna absolutely love him. But you can see here, I've literally been on the market 258 days. I try to buy properties that move like within 30 days, 60 days. And I screwed that one up. I totally screwed up here. Let's see. I want to show you. Let's see. Solds. Type. Let's see. Can I go back? Let's see more. Let's see. Sold in the last 24 months. Well, it's not popping up, but there was the parcel right here that sold in the last 24 months. So let me look at this. Let me try to see. This is an older property. I don't know if I can pull it up. This was oh, what was it? This was what Warren County. Let's see. So this was, man, this one I can't remember what it was called. Home type land, lots sold in the last 24 months. Acreage size, let's do 10 to 20. And let's say my price was between 50 and 100. I don't know why it's not showing up. I'm going to look at Redfin. Let's see. So I had a problem property over here that this one is another one that, so I listened to the agent. I did all the things. I did exactly what he said, but I over improved the property, I guess you could say. And I ended up eating on that. Ended up sending a wire for $7,000. I was so pissed that I had to pay money to sell a freaking property. This one really, really killed me. It was one of the ones that really just hurt to do it. Loved the property. I loved everything about it. I just totally screwed the pooch. We ended up eating crap on it, and it sucked. But we ended up selling it. We ended up walking away. We ended up losing some money off it. Was this it? 825 Pell Mills. Yeah, I think this was the property. The pictures aren't showing up. But let's see. February 8th, 2024. I feel like this might have been it. I almost forget which one it was. I could look back at my records, but damn, what was this property? We ended up buying this property. We picked it up. We thought it was going to go great. We cleared the property. We did some improvements. We made it look pretty. We did all the right things. And we put it on the market and it sat. And we were quite upset. We didn't know what the hell was going on. We thought it was an amazing parcel. We thought it was beautiful, blah, 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 all the things. Well, we were wrong. This property ended up sitting there for, what did we do? We probably sat there for like, I think like, we sat there for probably like 8 months. We finally ended up getting it under contract, and it appraised. And when it appraised, it was for less than we had it listed for, less than we could do it for. And we ended up just saying, fine, whatever, just sell it. So we ended up selling the parcel. It really sucked, and we ended up walking away. My agent got paid. My lender got paid, and we ended up coming out of pocket $7,000. I had to wire. I hated it. I was so miserable. I had never lost money on a real estate deal until that deal. That was the first deal I ever lost a dime on. And that killed me because I had 15 years of good stuff. And that was the first one I lost money on. Killed me. Absolutely killed me. So that deal was like really like a gut punch. Lost $7,000. And the only thing I'll positive I'll take out of it, I learned a lot. And I ended up giving my lender still got paid. My realtor still got paid. So that was awesome. They still got their money. But I lost $7,000. That one kills me. It'll always kill me. I'll always be annoyed by it. I know it's fine. Like it was crazy because like I lost $7,000 that day. The next day I got a wire for $60,000. So, but it actually hurt more losing the 7,000 than it felt good getting the 60,000, if that makes any sense. So like, even though I made 60 grand on literally the next day on the next property, losing that 7 hurt so much that I was so annoyed with myself because I should have known better. I should have done the right things. I should have went through my due diligence better. I should have done all the things, all that stuff, but I trusted somebody with the pricing. I should have gotten multiple opinions. I should have talked to people about it. I should have had other people look at my deals. I should have had other people in the group that I trust look at my deals. I didn't. Totally botched it. Had I done that, I probably would have saved myself the money. I probably would have saved myself the time and whatever. But it's okay. End of the day, it was a great learning lesson for me and for everybody around me, which is great because I like to tell people about this deal all the time. I spent $8,000 to improve it. And guess what? That $8,000 would have been the money that I kept. Because here's what happened. The guy that came in and ended up buying the property didn't like where we placed the driveway and all this stuff anyway. So he ended up doing it himself again. So I wasted $8,000 because he didn't like where we were putting the home site. So that was stupid on my part. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So how's the business going in 2025? So this year, my business has changed. I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm actually trying to simplify things. So we used to send a vast amount of mail. I'm trying to simplify things a little bit and go a little bit different in my approach. So I'm not going to get too into it, but I did change a lot of things this year. Couple deals so far, but I also haven't really been pushing that hard this year because I'm fine-tuning some stuff. But as soon as I'm finished fine-tuning, we're going to be probably way better than we ever have been as far as like a return on ad spend point. For a while, our ROAS trickled down a little bit. We were actually hitting like really low numbers considering, I mean, if anybody else in any other business would say they were getting less than a 10x return on ad spend and they were upset about it, they'd be like, dude, screw you. Because like a 10x ad spend is like nuts in any other business, Here, we're like, oh, this is terrible. So what we're trying to hit, I want to get back to that 20 to 25x return on ad spend. So we tweaked a lot of things in our business to kind of get back to that point. And I'm refocusing that. And then I have some bigger deals that were in the pipes that I don't talk about. A couple of them that we're really working hard on. And, we're really going hard and heavy on just like building relationships. It's really what we've noticed. Go heavy on building relationships this year and you'll do way better because once you find your trusted resources in select markets, you're going to do better instead of broadbanding in like a billion markets and like just throwing everything at a wall and like just seeing what sticks. Like you end up wasting a lot of money like that. We spent so much freaking money on scrubbing and going crazy and doing all this stuff when we probably could have just stuck to like 10 markets and really just went a mile deep on them and probably pulled out $2 million, $3 million worth in just those markets. So you don't have to be everywhere. You just got to be somewhere. It's really what it comes down to. So, I mean, I hope this video helps people. These are a lot of mistakes that I made, and you know what? I'm going to make more. So I'm going to probably make more of these videos because we all make mistakes. It's at the end of the day, this is what happens in life. It just sucks. You got to just roll with the punches and just keep on going because whatever, nobody else is going to feel bad for you. So, all right, all. It's been good. Enjoy. Please share, tell everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe so I can do more of these videos. If anybody wants to come on here, I'm going to send a Calendly link inside Discord. You can hop on there, schedule a call. We can hop on there. And we'll go from there. Thanks, y'all. I'll see you soon.